Letter sound knowledge is critical because of the complexity of the English language. It is the most complex alphabetic language that there is. And for a long time now, most people, not all people, but most people acknowledge that you do need to teach the letter-sound relationship quite explicitly. But just how that is done is increasingly becoming a matter of debate. So I just need to talk about these two different ways of approaching it because the research has clearly identified one as being superior. The analytic method is teaching phonics and phonic knowledge, or letter sound knowledge, by looking at the words in the stories that you're reading, pulling the words out and seeing how they're made up. That's analysing, that's the analytic method of teaching letter sound knowledge from the words that you're reading. The other method is the synthetic method. Synthetic has nothing to do with polyester and nothing to do with plastic, and everything to do with synthesising sounds, teaching children to blend. Synthetic is about synthesising. That is the principle that we need to use when we read. We synthesise sounds and we put them together. Now, English is an irregular language, so that's not the whole picture, but it is the principle that children must understand if they are going to be independent readers. And increasing research has shown that a synthetic method for teaching letter sound knowledge is superior to the analytic method. And there seems to be a couple of reasons for this. Number one, if you're only taking words from the reading that the children are doing, it's too random and you can't be sure that you are covering the enormous range. It's a vast array of letters and letter patterns that children must learn. And you need to be very systematic about how you do that for beginning and for struggling readers. And it isn't systematic enough if you're only doing it from the reading that you're doing every day in the classroom. This is not to say if you use a synthetic method that you don't do a lot of reading. Of course, you still do a lot of reading. But addressing that letter sound knowledge in a completely separate way seems to have an advantage. So very early in the piece, so with 5-year-olds, if not earlier with some children, you're teaching them separate sounds, and you start with a few consonants and a couple of vowels, and the principle is that you choose those based on their ability to blend into words. A number of programs actually start with SATPIN, and they teach them very quickly. They might teach within a week, they might teach 5 or 6. And we used to think, that's far too much. Their little brains will explode. Their little brains don't explode. And we're finding that with children can pick this up very quickly, and once they get this idea that that's the way the English language works, it just seems to take off amazingly quickly. And so it's not this letter of the week and going through the letters of the alphabet in order. That's a very inefficient way of doing it. Always working from the books that you're reading will not cover the amount of knowledge that you need to cover. So if I can just encapsulate some of the big ideas. Teach the sound separately. Concentrate on blending. Teach it very explicitly and do it very, very systematically. Make sure that you do cover everything. Now, of course, English doesn't always obey the rules, and we have a vast number of irregular words that we call sight words. The children just have to learn, and they have to be learnt at the same time as well. There's kind of these two parallel elements to a program of teaching letter sound knowledge because, of course, we can't always apply just the blending. So we have to teach them how to blend the regular ones and how to recognise the others very early, very explicitly, and in a very systematic way.